Good morning. Whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching from home, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Desert. I'm Mel Wilkinson, your worship associate for this morning. Please, before we begin, take a moment to silence your cell phones and any of your other electronic devices, please. Thank you. Here, as we do every week, we acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded lands of the Agua Caliente Band of the Cahuilla people. And we commit to grow in our understanding and relationship with this land and with the people who inhabit it and nurtured it before our arrival. In this congregation, where we strive to honor the inherent worth and dignity of every person, you are welcome no matter your sexual orientation or your gender identity, your age or your size, whether you're rich or you're poor. We welcome people of all races, religions, and cultures. We welcome you wherever you come from and whoever you love. We welcome all those who will learn and grow with us as we commit together to embrace the rich and beautiful diversity of the world. Our goal here is to build communities centered in justice, in compassion, and in love. We're glad you are here with us this morning, whether you are here in the sanctuary or at home. We're grateful for your presence. Thanks for joining us today. If you want to learn more about us or our programming, please contact the office at admin.uucod, that's ADMIN, at uuc.org, or visit the website also uucod.org. Now please join me as Reverend Ian rings the Tibetan bowl and we listen to the wonderful world of Malcolm Swang plays our music for centering to start our service.
And we know that we carry so much more with us from our wider world. We carry our fear and our anger and our pain at the violence of war, at the destruction of lives. We carry fear and worry in our heart for the state of our nation. We also carry joy and gratitude for those who speak up, those who work to change things, those who work to shift our world into a deeper, more loving place. And we are headed towards a season where we traditionally we center thinking about how we are grateful for what we have, grateful for our lives, grateful for our world, grateful for possibilities as we enter into this season of Thanksgiving. And so I invite you, please, to be seated. You are seated, to be sitting comfortably in your seats, to breathe in a way that makes you comfortable, to close your eyes if you are so moved, and just to breathe quietly into those lungs which help bring life to you, those lungs which sometimes work really, really well, those lungs which sometimes give you trouble, those lungs which filter the air and transfer oxygen into our blood so that we may live our lives. We're grateful for our lungs. We're grateful for the blood that runs through our body, the blood that carries nutrients and oxygen, the blood that carries healing, the blood that carries possibility, and sometimes our blood carries other things. We are grateful for our blood and our circulation. We're grateful for the feet which carry us, though sometimes they do not. Grateful for our knees, even when they annoy us. Grateful for our legs, the strength in our legs, even when it goes away. We are grateful for our bodies. Grateful for our stomach and our intestines that take the food that we ingest and turn it into nutrients that fuel our lives, knowing that sometimes our guts are twisted because of something that we cannot digest or because of something in the world we cannot digest, knowing that sometimes our innards do not work the way we hope they would, and yet we are grateful. We are grateful for our shoulders and our arms and our hands. We know the work they do to keep us healthy, the work they do to keep us employed, the work they do to allow us to interact with the world, even when sometimes they are injured, sometimes they get in the way, sometimes we lose the ability to use them the way we used to, but we are grateful for them. Grateful for the jaws and the teeth and the mouth and the nose and the ears and the eyes in our face that help us interact with the world and with each other, even when they don't work the way we want them to. Those eyes, those various eyes of all those colors and all those abilities, those ears, which for some of us help us hear the world and for others not as much anymore. Still, we are grateful for what they bring us. Grateful for the hair on our head, even when it has gone away, we are grateful. Grateful for our bodies, even when they ache, even when they frighten us, even when we do not know what is going to happen to them, we are grateful. And so I invite you to breathe into the gratitude of this room, held here in this community of love and safety, this community of possibility. Breathe deep as we center ourselves in love. May all beings know peace. May all beings know an end to suffering. May all beings know love. Friends, I'd like to invite you to join your beautiful, holy voice. Yes, that holy voice, even if the nun in third grade told you to sit at the back and mouth the words, that the voice that you always say, oh, I can't sing, or someone told you once you couldn't hold a tune in a bucket. That voice, even if you have a degree that tells you your voice is wonderful, that voice. Join our voices together as we sing Spirit of Life, Fuente de Amor. always healing for me to hear you sing that, friends, so thank you. One summer when I was in high school, our cousin Kim came to stay with our family for a week to hang out with us and spend some time enjoying summer activities in our town before she and my brother headed off to sleepaway camp. She and my brother were getting ready to get on the bus for downtown, and I guess my dad said something dad-like to them. Kim stopped and looked at my dad and said, "Do you all have like a magazine, a parent's magazine where they tell you what to say to kids?" That's the exact thing my dad says all the time. We laughed, of course. But I remembered that conversation years later when I was sitting around a table with a bunch of other school teachers, and we were sharing with each other the things we found ourselves saying over and over again to the kids in our classrooms. For me, teaching mostly elementary school at the time, the phrases were things like, "It's okay to think what you want, but we don't always say everything we think." And actions have consequences. Which both of those are things we learn as kids, right? As a minister, one of the things that I have heard over and over again from teachers and mentors that I grew to understand through experience and that I have shared with those that I mentor and with leaders and other congregants, including many of you in pastoral conversations, is this: emotional labor is physical labor. What we feel and how we deal with those feelings and the realities of the emotional world around us play out in our bodies, as well as in our hearts and minds. Grief and anger are exhausting physically. Joy and excitement take it out of us as well. We don't just respond to the world around us with our hearts and our minds. The rest of our bodies get involved. We respond physically. Our bodies are so central to our understandings of ourselves and our ways of being in the world. Be honest with me, with yourself. Are you feeling the last few weeks in your body? My legs and my feet ache. My shoulders ache. Not because I've been doing any extra exercise, but because the world is with us. And yet we neglect often to pay attention. We've either been taught that our bodies aren't important or are a distraction, or we've chosen to ignore the physical reality of our lives, or we've been taught to mistrust or even hate our bodies. Our bodies are central, though, to how we encounter the world, how we inhabit it, how we encounter and welcome or exclude each other. So today I want to think about bodies, certainly because of the centrality I've just been talking about, and also because the impact the last few weeks and months and years have had on our bodies, but also because how we respond to other people's bodies as a religious community makes a big difference in how people feel welcomed or not, how they feel like they belong or not, and also because our bodies continue to be the focus of those who want to craft a world of enforced restrictive morals, a world where the majority of people or of bodies are dominated and controlled by a small minority. This focus feels especially pertinent right now in our nation, but it is certainly not a new issue. We see and hear around us everyday demands from governments and leaders that we agree to laws that radically restrict how individuals in our society are permitted to live in and manage the functions of our bodies. Laws and attitudes grounded in fear, in shame, in theologies of restriction and control, in philosophies of exclusion and repulsion. Laws that aim to restrict how and when people conceive and give birth to new life. Laws that force victims of rape and incest to give birth to children conceived in these acts, even if the victims are children themselves. Laws that restrict access to contraception and block the use of fertility treatments. These laws are about control. control of other people's bodies. They are passed by legislatures and cleared by judges who think that it is the right of the state, the right of the men who dominate the legislatures of those states to police the bodies of other people, of women, of trans people, to control other people's bodies. We engage, many of us, in policing other people's bodies an awful lot. We choose to believe, knowingly or unconsciously, that it is our place to comment on, change, or control how someone else lives in their body. We do this in so many ways. We do this when we enact laws that tell a woman how she can or must treat her body when she is pregnant. We do this when we enact laws and policies that tell doctors and parents that it is illegal for them to care for the lives, the bodies of their trans youth in their care. We do this when we denigrate or mock or subtly undermine people because their bodies are not what we think should be acceptable, too fat, too thin, too disabled, too old. So many of these laws are grounded, as I said, in restrictive and repressive theologies, beliefs about what is holy and how an understanding of holy that is small and exclusionary can call our society to ever more and more rigidity and simplistic understanding and misunderstanding of human biology and psychology, theologies about the unchanging nature of gender and creation, theologies that provide cover for attitudes based in fear and misunderstanding and a rejection of curiosity about the richness of humanity. These theologies defend the idea that other people's bodies are available for our misuse and control, that other people's way of living out their reality and experience is to be questioned and vilified, that other bodies that don't move or act or think the ways that are considered normal are to be mocked or mistrusted. These are the attitudes that are underlying so much in our political and social world these days, and they have for a long time. Rabbi and disability activist Julia Watts-Belzer offered the Ware Lecture, which is just an annual large lecture, at the General Assembly this past summer. Now, unfortunately, her lecture was only available for a short time and only for those who registered, but happily she also wrote a book called Loving Our Own Bones, Disability, Wisdom, and the Spiritual Subversiveness of Knowing Ourselves Whole. In her lecture and her book, Rabbi Belzer explores a different theology than the one I've just been describing, one that grows out of the same biblical texts that conservative lawmakers use as their justification. Belzer's exploration, however, looks at the biblical stories through a different lens. Rather than seeing these stories and teachings through a lens that tells us that disabled bodies fail to measure up to expectations of correct and normal, which then requires us to talk about, quote, symptoms, treatment, and rehabilitation, Belzer wants to tell a different story, seeing the way that social attitudes, architectural barriers, and cultural notions of normalcy encourage and train us to, quote, value certain modes of being over others. She asserts that, and I'm quoting now, disability isn't a medical diagnosis, but a cultural movement. For her, approaching disability through the lens of culture allows us to recognize disability as a dimension of human diversity. Here, there is a refusal to believe the lies that we are taught, that there are some bodies more worthy than others, some bodies which we can righteously discard of, devalued and erased, as the statement from the UU Ministers Association Task Force spoke of in Mel's reading from earlier in the service. Recognizing disability as a dimension of human diversity, understanding that all bodies have inherent worth and dignity, offers us an entirely different way to understand our role in being in relationship with our neighbors, in building beloved communities. Rabbi Belser invites us to imagine a, quote, world where disabled bodies, black bodies, brown bodies, fat bodies, slow bodies, women's bodies, immigrant bodies, Muslim bodies, Jewish bodies, silent, stuttering, blind, and queer bodies, old bodies, trans bodies, homeless bodies are all safe on the streets of our cities. She grounds her understanding and her activism in theology that grows out of the traditional Jewish and Christian scriptural texts. And we can see other writers, too, encountering bodies and our relationship with them in poetry and in prose. In his poem, I Sing the Body Electric, Walt Whitman, not unproblematic as we understand his deep racism these days, but still powerful, shows himself to be a champion of the diversity of bodies. After listing and lifting up many, many parts of the human body, he says, in the binary gendered language of his time, the man's body is sacred and the woman's body is sacred. No matter who it is sacred. Is it the meanest one in the laborer's gang? Is it one of the immigrants just landed on the wharf? Each belongs here or anywhere just as much as the well-off, just as much as you. Each has his or her place in the procession. Oh, I say these are not the parts and poems of the body only, but of the soul. I say now these are the soul. The love for the body is shared in the work of Mary Oliver, probably the passage that many of us know the best of her work. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Other poets invite us into relationship with their own body. In Homage to My Hips, Lucille Clifton writes, these hips are big hips. They need space to move around in. They don't fit into little petty places. These hips are free hips. They don't like to be held back. And Polish poet Anna Swear shares her conversation with her own body in a poem that ends this way. My body, you are an animal from whom ambition is right. Splendid possibilities are open to us. And we might also be invited into the realization that our bodies are not isolated creatures alone in the world, never interacting with other bodies. In an essay entitled The Body and the Earth, Wendell Berry writes, our bodies are also not distinct from the bodies of other people, on which they depend in a complexity of ways from biological to spiritual. They are not distinct from the bodies of plants and animals with which we are involved in the cycles of feeding and in the intricate companionships of ecological systems and of the spirit. They are not distinct from the earth, the sun, and the moon, and the other heavenly bodies. We are part of the vast interdependent web of existence, woven into all of life with all of those around us. We Unitarian Universalists are deeply committed to this understanding, this reality that we see. We are striving to build communities of inclusion and equity, of generosity and justice, communities where everybody, where every body is welcome. Because whatever our spiritual leanings, whatever our intellectual needs, we live in this world, in this life, in bodies. Bodies that grow and change over time, bodies that are sometimes strong and sometimes weak, bodies that miraculously keep us safe from many things and also sometimes overreact to those things or stop working for our safety or get in the way, bodies that age and ache, and bodies that enjoy touch and connection and pleasure, bodies that only we know intimately, deeply. Our bodies matter. How we live into them, how we respond to other people's bodies, how we support and nurture each other as we live in these bodies matters. There is so much we can't control about our own bodies, so much we did not choose. Our genetics, our living situation, disease, infection, abuse, so much we do not choose. What we do choose, what we can choose, is how we live into these realities, how we live in our bodies, whatever we are given. We can choose to love ourselves and our beautiful, holy, imperfect bodies. We can choose to treat ourselves with care and intention. We have the ability, the right, the responsibility to make decisions about our own bodies and how they are in the world. We can choose to trust that the person who lives in and with and through their bodies knows best about how that body should be in the world. In the weeks before the Supreme Court ruling that overturned Roe versus Wade, the folks at our Unitarian Universalist Side with Love office shared these words. Our Unitarian Universalist faith affirms that all of our bodies are sacred and that we are each endowed with the twin gifts of agency and conscience. Each of us should have the power to decide what does and doesn't happen to our bodies at every moment of our lives because consent and bodily autonomy are holy. And when disparities in resources or freedoms make it more difficult for certain groups of people to exercise autonomy over their own bodies, our faith compels us to take liberatory action. In the face of so much fear and cruelty, in the face of demands for judging and policing and control of other people's bodies, may we remember that affirmation of our sacred bodies. May we remember and honor each person's, each body's agency and conscience and dignity. Honor through curiosity and kindness. Honor through acceptance and accommodation. You're going to hear a little bit more about accommodation from Stephen later in the service. Honor through acting to fight and end laws and practices that restrict how our neighbors and kin can live into their bodies. Honor through acting to fight and end laws and practices that seek to control the choices we make about who our bodies can love, about how and when we bring new life into the world, about how we care for those new lives under our care, because every body is the location of holiness. And may we always choose. May we choose in each and every moment to respond to our neighbors and children, to kin and stranger, to loved ones and those we encounter, and even those we hate. May we choose to respond with kindness, curiosity, and steadfast faithfulness. May our every choice to act in our neighborhoods, in our cities, in our families, in every encounter, may our every choice be guided by love. May it be so. My friends, will you join those beautiful, imperfect, but fabulous voices together again as we sing our closing song, Love Will Guide Us. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Love will guide us.
This is the time for congregational news. I have one announcement that the Gals Who Lunch in December will be from 12 to 2 at Dickey's Barbecue on Bob Hope Drive. Limited vegetarian options, salads, mac and cheese, loaded baked potatoes. This is a very casual dining. Contact Sarita Gonzalez in the directory and signing up for the round table in the foyer. If you'll join me, Joni, will you please come forward?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Joni Paddock, and I'm speaking on behalf this morning of the Social Justice Committee. You've been hearing the last couple of weeks a bit about the Migrant Education Center Food Box Drive and Toy Drive, and it occurred to me we've got so many new faces here that perhaps you don't know about the Migrant Education Center. So I want to read just a blurb from their website to introduce you to what they do. The goal of the Migrant Education Program in Coachella Valley Unified School District excuse me, is to ensure that all migrant students reach academic excellence and graduate with a high school diploma. The Migrant Education Program provides supplemental programs and services that are federally funded. These programs and services are designed to enrich and respond to the educational and emotional needs of migrant students in the Coachella Valley Unified School District. Last spring, Carol McDaniel, who is over on the soundboard, or the VMix, whatever you call it, they keep me away from AV for a reason. Carol, my husband Bill, and I were privileged to join the Migrant Education Center when they were giving out the diplomas to the graduating seniors. And there was a screen on stage behind each student as they came up to receive their diploma, which told what schools they were going to, what university, trade school, or branch of the armed forces. It was a wide variety. It was really moving for us to witness and celebrate that success. But during the ceremony, they also presented, UUCOD, with a certificate of gratitude for our support. We've actually been associated with the Migrant Ed Center for about 20 or so years. And when COVID hit, we wanted to continue to support them at Christmas time, at the holiday time. We used to go serve the meals and brought toys and things like that, so we could no longer do that. And so we developed this food box program and toy drive. So we are taking donations by check or online for toy donations and for the food donations. Bill and I will go out about a week from Saturday, I guess, and buy all the groceries. We fill the boxes, a table outside that you can come and see what the food box looks like, all packed. And the money for the toys will go to the leaders, the teachers at the Migrant Ed Center to purchase the toys for the kids. So come and see me outside. I have a QR code that you can scan, which will bring you to the form online. And then there's also sign-up sheets for the various duties, volunteers, whatever you want to call it, for packing the boxes, unloading the heavy boxes. You need to have a strong back. Unloading the food boxes, we pick it up at Smart and Final, and then reload the boxes onto the U-Haul truck. And Bill and I will go down to Thermal to deliver them on December 9th, 7th, whatever that Saturday is. Thank you. The 7th. So please come and see me if you're interested in helping in any way. There's also sheets out there that if you want to give me a check, it needs to be in by this Friday. It needs to be in the office if you're going to drop off a check, if you don't have a check with you, or it needs to be electronically sent by this Friday. That's the close. And it has to be, as I said, received in the office by Friday. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Joni. Like she says, we have supported this organization for over 20 years. It is a valuable organization, and we do a lot of good work for them. They do a lot of good work for us, too. Stephen, if you'd like to come up.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Steve Toporov, And this month, Rev Ian has been discussing diversity and inclusion. And you may know here at UUCOD, we have a diversity, inclusion, and belonging ministry that seeks ways to ensure that all are truly welcome here. And part of full inclusion is accessibility. I'd like to tell you about 2 developments regarding accessibility here at the church. First, we have a new accessibility page on the UUCOD website. Among other things, the accessibility page discusses issues such as the physical access to our building, audio assistance, and the statement sets out our policy regarding service animals. And I invite you to take a look at the statement on the website. At the same time, we cannot possibly anticipate every need of our members, friends, and visitors that may come our way. To ensure that we are truly welcoming to the fullest extent possible, the board has approved a new voluntary position, the Accessibility Liaison. And I'm proud to let you know that I have taken on that responsibility. If you, friends, or visitors have a special need in order to attend services or to participate fully in the life of the church, you can contact me, the liaison, at accessibility@uucod.org. All communications will be held in strict confidence, and I will work with Rev Ian and the various committees to see how we could accommodate your needs in a timely fashion. Whether you need an accessibility accommodation one time or on an ongoing basis, or you simply have an observation or suggestion about accessibility in our congregation, I would like to hear from you. So again, you can reach me, the Accessibility Liaison, at accessibility@uucod.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. At this time, we will extinguish the chalice, and if you'll follow along with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These are within our hearts until we are together again.
The statement that we shared earlier from the UUA's, it's not standing on the side of love anymore, it is answering the call of love committee, went on and said this: if we believe that all people have inherent worth and dignity, then we believe that all bodies have inherent worth and dignity. If we believe that all bodies have inherent worth and dignity, we also believe that every person also has agency over their body, that people are more than the work they do, that caring for one another is a moral responsibility, even bodies that do not conform. All bodies are worthy of our care and concern because they are human people with human bodies. As we depart from each other today, friends, let's carry our deep understanding of that worth in our ears and hearts and in the actions of our hands, and go knowing that each person we meet, with their hopes and their minds and their hearts and their bodies, each person is holy and worthy and beautiful and welcome. Go in peace, my friends, to love and serve the world.